I remember when Clint and I were allowed to pick the music for our show, and I heard this and I was like, this is it. And he agreed with me, and it never gets old. I love it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another live edition of Dodgers Territory on this Monday afternoon alongside Clint Pasillas. We are your hosts. I'm Alanna Rizzo. Like us, rate us 5 stars, subscribe, do all the things to help us get our numbers up. We appreciate it. Check us out on YouTube, of course, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Clint, it's great to see you. We're coming down to the wire, my friend. All-Star break is next week. But before we get to that and the Dodgers 6 All-Stars, let's talk about the need at hand of what this team needs. We know they're going to win the division, right? They're going to win over 100 games, but they're still not complete. What do they need?
Well, they need help, and I guess we should probably get into the big ticket. I don't know if we wanted the front end on that. We could just trudge forward. Let's have some fun with it. They need some help. They need some guys. They need some infield help. They might need an outfielder. I think they need a starting pitcher. Alanna, I think that's one of those things you nailed very, very early in the season was the need for one more pitcher, maybe one more starter. Maybe this team needs two. I don't think they need two. Where do you stand? What 2 more series before All-Star break?
Well, we're going to have Joe Davis on the program momentarily in about 3-4 minutes. So we'll certainly ask the play-by-play voice of the Dodgers and National Baseball on Fox what he thinks the Dodgers need to do. But let's get into the big ticket. I do think that we need a starter. But on top of that, Clint, I think we need a starter, a frontline starter. I also think that we need some bottom of the order help, whether that's, obviously it's another bat. Middle of the infield, I'm not as concerned about anymore. I think the Max Muncy injury is an issue. You always want you starting pitching. You always want good bullpen help. But I think, moreover, you look at what the Dodgers did in the last couple of series, and they just looked flat. They looked flat to me. And again, we talked about not a lot of series, Clint, that were circled on the calendar anymore, except for the upcoming series with the Philadelphia Phillies. We'll talk about that in just a second. But it almost is as if they played down to the competition.
Yeah, it's felt like that, particularly these last 3 series. And overall, I had the numbers before the Brewers series, and I think the Dodgers were like 30-17. No, it was close. They're basically playing 500 ball for their last 38 games. That's what it was. They were playing about 500 ball. Just looks like a team that is in need of a little spark. Right now looked like a team that was in need of a little bit of break. But the last 3 series, you lose one to the Giants, you lose one to the Diamondbacks. Both teams they're not playing up to what we expected out of them entering the season. And the Brewers in first place in the NL Central. You play up to that competition. You feel good. You feel better. The horses were lined up a little bit there. Tyler Glasnow, gives up the grand slam, but still plays the stopper the team needed. But really, it screams like it's a team that needs a break, and they also need, as you mentioned, you need Max Muncy back. It's still a team playing without Mookie Betts, without Yoshinobu Yamamoto, without Gavin Lux hitting. There's a lot of those little problems. The fact that they are as good as they are just tell you how good the Los Angeles Dodgers are, but still very much feels to me like a team that needs a break right now.
Well, I think you're also bringing up guys that you wouldn't normally bring up unless you had absolutely necessity to. Maybe they're just playing the schedule game. Maybe they're just playing like we need to give guys a blow game. But you have a guy making his major league debut, 2 weeks before the All-Star game or a week and a half before the All-Star game. I mean, he's basically wearing a tight end number there. And again, I get it. The Dodgers have a pretty strong lead in the division, but you have Wroblewski that I don't even know if I'm saying that correctly. Wroblewski. You have him come up and face a good, a postseason team in the Milwaukee Brewers. He got his cuts a little bit. I mean, he did a decent job, I guess, for his major league debut. But I mean, are we forced to bring up guys too early now because we just don't have the depth? And I mean, is this obvious that we don't have the depth, or is this just, let's just give this guy a chance. Let's give everybody else a blow.
I mean, it's a combination of a little bit of everything. I feel you don't expect Justin Wroblewski to be making his major league debut on a Sunday against the Brewers just before the All-Star break, but that's where the Dodgers decided they want to go. Hey, maybe it was a little bit of a showcase telling other teams this guy could be available to your team at the trade deadline. We know, again, this team has some needs. All good teams add to their teams. All good championship teams add to their teams at the All-Star break. But it's definitely not what this team drew up, and this is kind of an indicator of not even an indicator. It's where the cards, how they were dealt for this season. Losing Yamamoto, Bueller not really working out. I'll say it again. The fact that I don't know where this team would be without Gavin Stone's emergence. Landon Knack at time has looked a little exposed, but still, if Robleski is making starts for you on the regular, I'm a little concerned, and by a little I mean a lot.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be making starts on the regular. I mean, I guess it does depend on where we're at with Walker Bueller's health, where Clayton is when he comes back. I mean, how effective Bobby Miller can get to be. Again, Tyler Glasnow is about to hit his innings limit of what he hit last year. So, I mean, you're thinking about that. Like, again, congratulations, all-star berth. We'll talk about that in a hot second. But, even really good teams, Clint, need help, right? The 108-win Red Sox team in 2018 that ended up going on to win the World Series and beat the Dodgers, they added Nathan Eovaldi and Pierce to win that. And Nathan Eovaldi arguably wasn't even a starter. He comes out of the pen and shoves it down the Dodgers' throat. He was the MVP of the 2018 World Series. I mean, the amount of innings and time that guy ate up was unbelievable in the success of the 2000. And I don't think that the Dodgers were a better team in 18. I really don't. I'm not surprised that the Red Sox won. I do think the Dodgers should have won in 2017, just based on talent and other obvious reasons. But I think the Red Sox were better. Steve Pierce was the World Series MVP out of freaking nowhere. You know what I mean? Like, I even forgot about the guy.
That proved to be game changers. Look at what happened with was it Atlanta and Eddie Rosario? You find these guys, Atlanta and Jock Peterson. You find these guys sometimes who aren't in the organization right now, and I'm hoping maybe whoever can get these big time hits that prove to be difference makers in the postseason, maybe they're not in the organization right now, and that's what makes this time of year so much fun. You can go out. The team the world is its oyster right now. We know the Dodgers have all the money in the world to get a move done. They have all the prospect capital in the world to get some moves done. And that's the thing. It's moves. It's not just one thing. They're also in this precarious spot too, where, you mentioned Kershaw. I don't think people talk enough about somebody like Dustin May, who could be, starter. He could be another bullpen option. Brusdar Graterol, somebody who's making his way back. Joe Kelly, bullpen is kind of there. You have some starting pitching options. You have Mookie Betts coming back. You might have Max Muncy back. So it's kind of, do you just tread water? Where do you make the additions? I'm grateful I'm not Andrew Friedman and Brandon Gomes right now, because the wheels having to constantly turn at this time of year, it's got to be a nightmare just being home. I would hate to be their wives too, being home around all of that.
Well, not for nothing. There's no clear-cut picture this year, right? There's so many teams that are still in the hunt with that third wild card in each league that you don't know, based on a day-to-day situation, whether you're going to be buying or selling. I mean, unless you are the Colorado Rockies, the Chicago White Sox, or who else is brutal this year? The Oakland A's or whatever, yeah, the Marlins. Thank you. That's the other team. You know that you're sellers. There's so many other teams that legitimately can make the postseason. Then you have to decide, okay, we're here. Are we going for it? Or are we not going for it? And then if you don't go for it, then you're upsetting your fan base. If you do go for it and then you don't, and then you're screwing the pooch on perhaps your farm system, or, you're depleting that. I mean, I agree with you. I don't envy that situation at all. Bart Burnside says you need third base. Muncy won't be back. I hate to think that he might be right. Obliques are such a disaster. And I tell you what, and we had Max Muncy on Foul Territory. And one of the questions that was asked of him was, what do you think you bring to the table? And I thought his answer was really good. And it was not a braggadocious answer, but he was very thoughtful in what he said. He's like, I just work counts, right? I work the count. I give you a professional at bat. I force the opposition to throw a ton of pitches, to help get the starter out of the ballgame. And he does. I mean, Max Muncy, even when he wasn't hitting and he was below average, he was still getting on base. I mean, the patience was there. The walk rate was there. And you're missing that, though. And now it messes up the rest of your lineup in terms of the order. And I do think that's a massive hole. And who would have thought that we would have been talking about, oh, my God, we need Max Muncy back. And it's not so much Max Muncy at third base defensively, which he has certainly improved upon. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But it's what Max Muncy does to you does for you in the box that is critical, and that's what they're lacking right now. So I think third baseman Justin Turner, come home, or get an, or not even get a frontline starter to complement what I don't even know what the heck our rotation is going to be in the postseason. There's so many question marks in terms of health and how many bullets do these guys have.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing on like the Yamamoto front, they say he's up to throwing some plyos. He's supposed to pick up a baseball, I think, towards the end half of this week. Still, you're a long way away from that. You still got the shoulder that you are worried about. What happens if it gives again sometime late in September? And then, oh shit, I just missed my opportunity at the deadline to make a big addition. We also talk a lot about somebody like, Glasnow and the innings issue. One of the other big names that's been linked to this team a whole bunch, Garrett Crochet. He's got arguably even worse innings issues. So there's a lot of little pieces to navigate through that. I think they could manage through the pitching. It wouldn't be pretty. Definitely would not be pretty. And we've seen this team get beat on the pitching issues over the last 3 postseasons, but not having Max Muncy, not having that guy right smack dab in the middle of your lineup, a professional at bat, by the way, drops in 35 home runs every year. That's a full season that he's fully healthy or healthy-ish. He drops you, 35 home runs. You're missing that from the lineup. You're missing, I think one of the things he told you guys on Foul was, he lets other guys be themselves. And that's something that's kind of missing. That's definitely something this team is missing. Him and with Mookie Betts.
Because everyone's like Garrett Crochet, but Garrett Crochet is on an innings limit. He very well could be. And the longer this goes where he's not traded, by the time that you need him the most in the postseason, he may have to be shut down. Let's talk to Joe Davis about that, of course, who joins us now here on Dodgers territory. The play-by-play man, a good friend of ours, of course, for the Los Angeles Dodgers on Sportsnet LA. He's also, Blake, my man. What's up? Hi, sweetheart. How are you?
Good.
Oh, it's so good to see you. Please tell Charlotte and Theo that we said hello. So Joe, also, of course, the national voice of MLB on Fox, joins us now, and thanks for taking the time. I love that you're a dad, and I first of all, I can't believe you have 3 now. But anyway, I can't believe Charlotte's 7, but that's besides the point.
She's 8.
Or she's 8. That's even worse.
Right?
Besides the point.
Terrible.
What a sweet. I love it. So tell them all I said hello, and Theo just getting baptized. Theodore Oral. I mean, we got to talk about that too. But let's talk about the situation the Dodgers need, Joe, with starting pitching. I would like for them to get a frontline starter. Garrett Crochet keeps coming up in the conversation, but I'm not certain that that's the best fit just because of the amount that he has thrown and may not be able to.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, and it'd be awesome if they got him, right? But I don't know that they should get him banking on him being the answer to whatever questions they feel like they have for this year. If you get him and say anything we get this year, awesome, and obviously have 2 years of control, that's what we're getting him for. Fine, great. But I think that probably, you would want a sure thing, just given the reason that you need pitching is because you have questions with what you currently have. And while Crochet is amazing if he's available, there are built-in questions with him too.
So you need pitching. You need some infield help. I like the shirt. We already got Blake dressed the right way. Question on the kiddos. Is Charlotte still all princessed out? Is she grown out of it, or is she still fully leaning into it?
Charlotte still like princesses, or no? Yeah, she's more art and Harry Potter, and she's grown out of the princess phase a little bit, but she's still a princess.
Well, we love to know that much. Has Joe Davis grown out of the barbecue era of his life, or what's that situation like in the backyard now there, Joe?
It's this being a busy time of year, of course, Clint, I don't get as much of it in, but I do anytime I can. We actually moved to a new house a couple months ago, and so I lost my outdoor kitchen. I still have my big green egg. It's just kind of sitting by itself, old school style. I need to. We'll eventually, as part of a renovation, get another outdoor kitchen put in, and that'll give me more excuses to get back to doing it a little more consistently.
Yeah, I think Brady Quinn gave you the best gift you've ever been given is the green egg. Not to mention what Libby gave you is 3 gorgeous kids, but that's fine. That's for another time. What's the biggest need, Joe? Is it third base until Max Muncy comes back? Is it a starter? Is it a bullpen piece? Is it a bottom of the order bat? You watch this team very closely. What do you think?
I think it's another bat. I do think that and again, I know that there are questions with the pitching. I think that there are enough options where you're going to wind up with a pretty darn good rotation, knock on wood, assuming that a few of those options are healthy. And I think you can make a pretty safe bet. You're going to have a few good options to choose from in October. That's not to say you don't go and supplement the rotation. I think they probably will try to do that. There's not a ton out there. I think that's the other part of the conversation that we've not talked about. Part of the reason you keep hearing Garrett Crochet, even with the questions there, is because he clearly is the best guy who is definitely going to be a team that is definitely a seller, right? So, like, just the market is dictating that the conversation, I think, steers towards a bat. And you get healthy in the lineup, that's going to help. The domino effect of, like you guys have talked about, Mookie and Muncy coming back into the lineup. But I do think, and you said bottom of the order bat, Alanna, I think maybe even aim a little bit higher. I think that they consider themselves the favorite, and as they should. And Andrew Friedman, he aims high, right? He goes big game hunting when it comes to the deadline. So I think you cast as wide a net as you can to find the best hitter or two that you can, and it winds up helping the bottom of the lineup because of the domino effect from plugging a top tier guy in there with the other top tier guys.
So one of the top tier guys has been spending a couple of days with you and Oral in the booth, Mr. Marcus Lynn Betts. Is this another thing that Mookie is great at, being in the booth? Because the last couple of broadcasts, or particularly Sunday, that was a lot of fun listening in. I catch you listening in on the conversation too, between two guys who love talking ball to each other. Just talk a little bit about Mookie there in the booth.
Yeah, it's been fun. The first day it was, hey, Mookie's going to come in and do a half inning with you guys. That was last Wednesday. And then about 2 hours before he comes on, my phone rings. It's Mookie. I said, what's up? And he said, hey, I'm thinking like 3 or 4 innings. And I was like, okay. Well, just so you know, if you're doing 3 or 4 innings, I'm not interviewing you for 3 or 4 innings. So you're going to need to be like an analyst. He said, cool, sounds great. So he comes and does it. I think he enjoyed it. Phone rings the next day. Hey, you going to be there this weekend? Yeah. All right, I'm going to come do it again. And he came in planning. I don't know what his plan was, but after a few innings, Oral and I were like, hey, you can stay as long as you want. And he's like, I'm having a blast. So we wound up, as we said, in the ninth inning, pitching a complete game there in his second game in the broadcast booth.
That's awesome. What a talented guy, and obviously feels very comfortable with you two. And let's talk about the chemistry in a booth, because it's so important. Obviously, you have great admiration and respect for one of your closest friends. Obviously, Oral Hershiser, you and your beautiful wife Libby named your third child. He has, Theo has Oral's middle name. And can you speak to the synergy that comes with a friend in the booth and somebody that you guys just kind of finish each other's sentences? And there's just broadcasting and what you do is such a skill and such a talent. It's something special though when you have a broadcast partner that just makes it seamless.
Yeah, it's the number one reason I love the job, and the number one reason it's gone well is that he has, and he deserves the credit on it, right? You know him as well as I do, Alanna. Nobody is more caring and thoughtful about other people than Oral. That's a funny picture right there, dude. And he's a best friend. He's like an uncle. He's like a brother. He's like a grandfather figure to my kids. He's a mentor. He's outside of my own direct family, my parents and my family here at home. He's the most important person in my life. And to have him be my broadcast partner, I think that people enjoy listening to us because of that foundation. I think that raw material you can't create. I think it's a once in a lifetime kind of chemistry that we're so lucky to have.
Yeah, we got Bulldog in there. You add Eric Karros, and the chemistry's there. Of course, that already kind of pours over from Fox games and all of that. Getting Dontrell Willis in there, Jessica Mendoza, the booth. Dodgers fans are so blessed, so lucky, but we're also very lucky because there's a through line there, and that is Joe Davis. Year 9. Did you think you'd get this far, being here as long as the manager as well? How do you feel about year 9 in Los Angeles with the Dodgers?
It is blown by. I can't say I didn't think I would be here this long. I can't say I did. I honestly went in like, I guess a little bit cliche, like just trying to survive each day and trying to be as good as I could each day and see where it took me. But it has blown by. To look now and say 9 years that I've been in that chair, it's a pretty special thing. I can't imagine what my life would be, what our life would be as a family if I hadn't taken this job.
Well, the Dodgers are so lucky to have you. I can say that from personal experience. I always tell you every time I see you on TV how proud I am of you, and I mean that. You're a superstar, but you earned it every second of this. And anybody that doesn't think so needs to recognize. You have seen obviously all the other big guns. I mean, the Dodgers are a big gun, but you've had a look at the Phillies. You've seen the Yankees. You've seen what the Orioles can do. How do the Dodgers best those teams in the postseason when it matters most?
I think they have to get healthy. They right now, like, we look and see that they're playing just a little better than 500 ball the last 2 months. That's kind of what they've been, right? Like for a couple months, they've been spectacular at times with spectacular players at the top of the order and the rotation and the back end of the bullpen. But like you look at the back half of the lineup since, and apologies for Theo, whose cries are probably echoing through the house here at this point. But you look at the back half of the lineup, you look at all these guys having a debut in the starting rotation, it kind of is what it is right now. They're not as good as the Phillies. They're not as good as the Yankees or the Orioles right now. When they're healthy, they are. I think when they're fully healthy, they're probably the best team. So they got to get healthy, and then, man, you get into October, as we've seen. The health thing, yeah, is the biggest foundation of it, but nothing that happens during the regular season applies once you get into October. So they could win 90 games, they could win 120 games. It doesn't matter. They have to win once they get to October, and I think health is the first ingredient that you got to have. With that health, you're going to have a more legitimate lineup of starting pitchers than they had last year. That was the biggest reason that things ended quickly. And I know you can look and say they didn't score, but I think that something can be said for the 5-run deficits the offense was facing each night before they even stepped in the box, probably altering the way things were going to go. So health would be the number one thing, and that's not groundbreaking stuff. I guess any team can say that, but that'd be my answer for the Dodgers.
Yeah, health and playing the good ball at the right time. Last one for me, and I'll let Clint close it out. Joe, is this upcoming Phillies Dodgers series as big as Dodgers Yankees was, about a month ago? Just as a measuring stick, I know that sounds cliche, but I'm interested in this series. I wasn't super interested in Giants and Diamondbacks, but I'm interested
Yeah.
in this
Well, I'm going to say selfishly no, because I'm sitting here in Pasadena. I'm not in Philadelphia. No, it's not as big of a deal because I'll get FOMO if it is. No, it'll be fun. I think, honestly, just like bias aside, because I'm biased to that other one because I did it, I do think the Yankee series, there's something extra special to it. One, because the teams were better versions of themselves then. Yamamoto was part of the Dodgers going into that series. I know Soto missed the weekend, but we didn't know that until hours before that series began. So you had all this hype and build up around it. Phillies right now are without a few of their best players. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking myself into this series not being as big a deal as the Dodgers Yankees series, but no, it's great. I think it's a really good way for them to it's go into the All-Star break, right? I think that it helps to have this trigger to kind of push you through the final week when some teams you can see go into lulls. Dodgers have a really good track record of playing well going into the break. I think a big series like this can help keep you from kind of falling asleep going into the break.
So my final is going to be kind of a two-parter because like most people, watch the Rich Eisen interview. It was great. Appreciate you opening yourself up to fans the way you did. So part one is, where's the bear in proximity to you right now? And two, now that you've been doing the national gig for a hot minute, not that you weren't before, but you take the booth from take it, but from Joe Buck. Anyways, you're there. Everybody's got an opinion about Joe Davis now. How do you handle the criticism that comes with that, and what's the advice for the next wave of broadcasters?
The bear is a casualty of the move. It's in a box somewhere. I don't know exactly where. It's not in the office right here. I can tell you that. The criticism, the way you handle it is you don't read it. So I'm pretty much off social media. Ignorance is bliss, I guess. And then I don't know, like if I just try to do the job the best I can, I try to prep hard and I try to have fun when I'm on the air and hopefully bring people some enjoyment when they watch the games. And if they can criticize, like I sometimes think of it this way, like music, right? You can say like pick your favorite artist who is unquestionably, no matter who you answer, one of the most talented people in the world at that job, and you can find a million people who think they stink, right? So like I just think that broadcasting is similar where not everybody's going to like you, right? People like different things in their broadcasters and different sounds, and but all I can control is doing the job the best way I know I can, and there are certain things that I think are non-negotiables when it comes to doing the job the right way, and I try to hold myself accountable to do those things, and hopefully over time, people can more and more people can like it, and hopefully there are a few that like it right now.
Joe Davis, you are in this for a very, very long haul, and Dodgers fans have no idea, or maybe they do, how lucky they are to have you. We appreciate you taking the time. I know you're not flying with the team to Philly. They're flying today. Enjoy the family. Thanks for being with us, and my best to you. We'll talk soon.
Okay, guys. Always good to talk to you.
All right, Joe Davis, play-by-play on Sportsnet LA, and of course on National Baseball on Fox. Let's take a minute to hear from our friends Eric Kratz and Scott Braun on AG1.
Kratz here from FT. I wasn't feeling as focused as I wanted to be and heard some buzz about AG1. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've felt energized, locked in, and ready to hit the day.
Braun here. That's because AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement that supports your body's universal needs like gut optimization, stress management, and immune support. Since 2010, AG1 has led the future of foundational nutrition, continuously refining their formula to create a better, smarter way to elevate your baseline health. Kratz, not only did I replace my multivitamin with AG1, but I love that every scoop also includes prebiotics, probiotics, and digestive enzymes for gut support. That's a big deal for me.
I recommend AG1 to fam and friends because it's tested for 950 contaminants and NSF certified for sport.
Kratz, we're both traveling a lot too, and those travel packs are clutch. I drink AG1 daily to support gut health so that we can dominate the day. So if there's one product to recommend to elevate your health, it's AG1, and that's why we're excited to welcome them as a new partner to the FT network. If you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/Val. That's drinkag1.com/Val. Go check it out.
All right, time now for Last Licks. This one bothers me, Clinton. I'll tell you why. This is Nala. This is a courtesy post. Nala's not under Guidry's guardian right now, but somebody reached out. In fact, Andrea Puig, Yasiel Puig's former girlfriend, reached out to me. This is Nala, who is in Sylmar County or Sylmar, California, and the family is going to take her to a high-kill shelter because they're moving and don't want to take Nala with them. That to me is a horrific excuse. There's other ways to handle this situation. And they're well aware that if she's taken to a high-kill shelter, she probably will not make it out alive. So Andrea, who's a wonderful human and big into adoption as well, reached out to me to see if we could help. So she is a 2-year-old husky. She's good with kids. She's beautiful. She's healthy. She needs a forever home, or she does not stand much of a chance in the shelter system. So visit us at Guidry'sGuardian.org. Reach out if you're interested in even fostering Nala to save her life. She's a beautiful girl, so we appreciate all of your help there. And again, adopt, don't shop. Before I let you go, let's talk about what Joe Davis was talking about as far as the Phillies. I'm psyched about. I mean, yes, I know they don't have Harper. I know they don't have Schwarber. It's not the same. But you know, we're without Mookie. We're without Muncy. So I'm excited about this series because the Phillies are really, really, really. I think the Phillies this year are better than the Phillies were last year.
Oh yeah, they got experience, more experience under their belt. They don't like the taste that was left in their mouth last postseason for sure, just like the Dodgers don't. The thing I really like about this series, and yeah, there is the potential to get Bryce Harper back. They might get Schwarber back, both these guys in time for the series because, like Mookie said, every other team's World Series is against the Dodgers, and they want to play the Dodgers well. They want to beat the Dodgers. You know, they understand two of the best teams in the National League here. What I'm looking forward to, though, is seeing guys like, we're going to see what Bobby Miller's actually made out of this year. He's had 3 starts now coming off the shoulder. He should be better. He should be in line to give this team, some FU innings against a powerhouse in the National League. And realistically, he's playing for a potential postseason, roster spot. If everybody else comes back healthy, they make a move, all that kind of stuff. He can get pushed out. Another one, Gavin Stone. I've been super high on Gavin Stone all year. Now he gets a chance to really, really face off. We've seen it against he had a great game against the Yankees. You got to see it again against the Phillies. So it is fun, and this is one of those measuring stick series. You wish it was more of a weekend, but the schedule didn't line up that way. I'm excited, but not exciting enough for Joe to take the flight to Philly for a series. But no, it's going to be a good one.
His schedule is so crazy. I would imagine he needs the time with his kiddos. Along those lines, I'm sure you're going to be talking about this series, of course, on All Dodgers with Clint Pasillas. What else is coming up? And tell the folks here what you're talking about as far as your deep dive into Gavin Lux.
Oh yeah. So Lux, listen, I've had a lot of strong opinions about Gavin Lux over the years, over the course of his career. Interviewed him just before he made the splash, the jump to Major League Baseball, had all the hype around him in 2019, as you very well remember, Alanna. But right now, what we're seeing out of Gavin, I think they're hurting him. I think it's hurting him to continue playing him out there, to continue to have to hear, assholes like me on the internet talk about him. So we did a deep dive over the weekend, dropped it on the YouTube channel. It's doing well. People are very opinionated about Gavin Lux. But it was a comment I got from a fan that I want to point it out, just because he says, like, Lux he shouldn't be bigger than the organization, and I understand them trying to run him out there day in, day out, and hope that he figures it out. But I think at some point, you got to get the confidence back in the bat, and maybe even open some opportunities for yourself as a shortstop again at AAA. So he's not, Gavin Lux, not the only problem on this roster by far, as we already talked about. Didn't even mention him through the course of this show. We're talking about third base, we're talking about outfield, talking about starting pitching, but still, just for like the sake of his career, and this is what I explained in the video, I think it wouldn't be a bad call to send him to AAA, let him just kind of take a blow. Hey, it worked for James Outman, very small sample size, but 3 for 5 since coming back from AAA. So check it out, people. Yell at me in the comments there if you want. Yell at me in the DMs at RealFRG on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. But love the kid. I just want to see the Dodgers treat him a little right now and let him get right at AAA.
I'm going to see what he wants. I'm going to see if we can come on the show. We try to get him on, but he was taking grounders on the field. So we'll see. I have a lot of respect for Gavin, and well, he may not talk to you, but maybe he'll come on and talk to me. I'm teasing. But I want to know, who do you guys want to listen to? And Mario has this to say: who will be the next superstar guest? We do always appreciate our guests coming on. Certainly love having Joe. We've had some fun guests. So who do you guys want us to talk to? Let us know. Tweet us, obviously. Let us know what you want. Check out Clint tonight on All Dodgers with Clint Pasillas. You guys can have that deep dive about Gavin Lux. I'm not giving up on him quite yet. I don't think it's time to move on from him, but that's neither here nor there. We are back on Thursday at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. So again, check us out on Dodgers Territory on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. We appreciate it. We will see you next time.
Bye.